Hey, what's up, faithful? It's your boy AB from the Better LA. Hey, do me a favor, like, subscribe, comment to the page if you enjoy it, or if you just like talking about the Niners like me. Appreciate any and all support. So look, let's get into it. About 4 games into the season, right? We're at the quarterly mark. First quarter of the season is basically over. So I wanted to go over a few things, quarterly report, I guess you could call it. Talk about what we've seen and where we're trying to go. So let's just get right into it, guys. Okay. So let's talk about the first thing that I wanted to address. The biggest surprise out of the first 4 games so far this season. There's a lot of things I think we could be surprised about. We can be surprised at our record. We can be surprised at the play of some of our players, whether it be good or bad. But for me, the biggest surprise is Jordan Mason. He's gone from a special teams player. He even said this. Starting the season, he believed he would just be a special teams player because he was third on the running back depth chart, and we had just drafted another running back. So he thought he would be, a special teams player. He didn't have any idea he'd be thrown into the leading running back one situation for the 49ers. So for me, that's the biggest surprise because not that he's, RB1, but how well he's performed as RB1. He's second in the league in rushing yards. That's pretty damn good for an undrafted running back. But as I said in the previous videos, the Shanahan effect is real. What he does and the schemes he draws up and the types of running backs he goes after, it all meshes well. And that's how you see people like a Jordan Mason go for 1,000 yards, or like his father back in Denver would have all these different 1,000-yard rushers. It's the schemes and it's also the players. They find the right player. And for Jordan Mason, he fell in the perfect spot. I'm not sure. He could probably go to some other spots and find success, but I'm not so sure he'd find this much success. So for me, that's huge. You know what I mean? So for him to come out and be a special teams player or think he's going to be a special teams player, to go from that to the leading or second leading rusher in the entire NFL in a matter of 4 weeks, that's very impressive. So for me, that's going to be my biggest surprise so far going this season. Now, one thing that does concern me about this is his usage. He's on pace for, I believe it was over 385 rushes this season. That's a lot of wear and tear for a guy that's, getting his first crack at an RB1. And he's really not had that type of usage probably in his entire life as a football player. So we're putting in a lot of wear and tear. He's young, so, he can bounce back better, but it's kind of concerning. So for me, another thing the Niners need to worry about is getting a running back too. I know Garindo's in there. I'm not sure he's the answer right now. It doesn't seem like he is. He probably has some potential later down the road, but we need to have a solid running back too. We also have Debo, and he can fill in, but we don't want the wear and tear on him as well. We don't want him going out, getting hurt, running the ball, So that's something the 49ers are going to have to think about going forward into this next quarter and into the second half of the season. They're going to have to figure out the running B2 situation, unless Christian McCaffrey is actually going to come back. Now, that's up for debate. I don't really know. Every day you hear something different. One day is, one leg. The next day is 2 legs. One day it's a couple weeks. Next day it's a couple months. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. It's going to be, it's going to be imperative that we do not rush him back. And when he does come back, we don't overwork him. So that's the great thing about having Mason now. Can you imagine a Christian McCaffrey and a Jordan Mason 1-2 punch going down the second half of the season? Now, I would love to see that. So fingers crossed Christian McCaffrey gets well. I hope he does. Hey, we're praying for you to get well, man. Love to see you back on the field. So that's my biggest surprise so far. Biggest disappointment, I guess that's a great segue. Christian McCaffrey, not him, but injuries. For me, that has been a huge disappointment to start this season. You're talking about missing Christian McCaffrey all season, Debo for a game or two, Kittle for a game or two, Hufanga for 3 games, Purcell, I'm so happy the kid is all right and he's healthy and he's safe, but he's had to miss time because of that situation, and that adds on to the strain of our team. And, Williams has been a little knocked up. Now we're missing Hargrave the rest of the season. Greenlaw's been out all season, although he should be coming back at some point. But that's a lot of significant type of players right there that I just named that have all been injured and have all missed a game or two or all. That's a pretty significant amount of players that we're missing. And, it's going to be imperative that going forward we get our health together, because as we've seen, guys, we know our team is great. We know that we get it done, but it comes down to health. If they're not healthy, then everything goes out the window. So hopefully we can stay healthy. But those have really been that's been the biggest disappointment for me so far, is the health. And 2B to that, I guess you could say, or 1B to that is Ayuk. Now, I'm disappointed in his start. I'm not worried about him, but I am disappointed in the start that he's had to this season so far. We expected more out of him, and we expect more out of him. So going forward, hopefully he gets in shape and he won't be on this disappointed list anymore. So going forward, excuse me. Sorry about that. But going forward, a big thing I think we're going to have to worry about for the next 4 games, I guess you could say, is stopping the run. Because I'm just looking at this as a quarterly, the next 4 games. What do we need to do? What is our biggest concern going into the next 4 games? And for me, it's going to be stopping the run. We got to get our run stop defense together. Our defensive line has to get better. Like I just mentioned, we're missing Hargrave, so that's going to be, a huge hole we have to fill going forward. And we're getting some players back over the next couple of weeks that could help out, especially with stopping the run, and Hufanga is one of them. And that's going to be huge for us. We're going to need to stop the run if we want to continue to win. So we'll see what happens there. Another thing we need to shore up is special teams. We cannot continue to allow special teams to have such a negative impact on our game. Okay, blocked punts, punt returns, and sometimes kickoff returns. Like, we have to shore this up, and it has to get better going over towards the next 4 games. If it doesn't, it's going to be tough sledding for us. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do in that aspect, tightening up things. And we're only 4 games in, so that was pretty much like a preseason for us. Now we've had our time to get it together, and it's time to go on a run. And that's going to depend on health as well. And if we're healthy, we're going to definitely go on a run. And I believe we're going to. We just got to stay healthy, guys. And so, the next 4 games, the next quarter, and basically it'll be the end of the first half of the season. It's going to be crucial because we have games against the Seahawks. We have the Cardinals next week. Then we have the Seahawks, the Chiefs, and then the Cowboys. That is a crucial 4-game stretch right there. Because if we can handle our business and take care of it, we can go into the second half of the season sitting at 4-2 or 6-2, somewhere around there. 6-2. I'm sorry, that's a 4-game winning streak if we do that. But we can go in there 6-2. I think we can do it. From what I look at with Arizona, they're a tough team. This is a divisional opponent. They run the ball well, but they don't have much defense. And you know what? We have a lot of offense. So with that, I feel very confident going into that game. Same thing with the Seahawks. The Seahawks are really good, and that's going to be on the road. But their defense is looking a little shabby as well. And we've performed well against them over the last few years in Seattle with Brock Purdy. So that's another game I'm looking to. I feel good about, but you still got to play the game. We still have to see what happens, right? Then you have the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. So I'm not going to talk too much about that, because even if we beat them, it's still not going to be enough satisfaction because they beat us in the Super Bowl twice. But it'd be a very good step going into the second half of the season if we can handle our business and beat the Chiefs. And then we have the Cowboys. We already know what's going to happen there. I don't have to waste my breath on them. We already know what's going to happen. Going to steamroll those boys and send them back to Irving, Texas. So that's not something I want to spend too much time talking about, because we already know what's going to go on there. But my point is, we have 4 games coming up that are very crucial. We can right the ship this next 4 games and be 6-2 and be sitting at top of the NFC West, heading into the second half of the season, locked and loaded. So I'm feeling pretty good about our season, considering everything, considering it all. We're 2-2. We've been out of a lot of players. We've been missing a lot of players due to injury, and it cost us some games. It's shown up in some of the games we've lost that those players injured, that we missed their production. Especially Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he's an offensive player of the year, right? So missing him is crucial. But we're learning life without CMC, and yes, we're having some red zone struggles because of this, but we're learning, and trust, we're going to get better. We have too many weapons. It's just kind of like a learning curve, but we're going to get better as the season goes. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And one last thing I want to touch on is that I think is going to happen over the next 4 to 6 weeks. Brock Purdy is going to put himself in the MVP. Brock Purdy is going to put himself in the MVP talks. A lot of people, we already know. They say this, they say that. We're not going to go into that right now. The bottom line is he's playing at an elite level. He's playing very efficient. And if he continues to, which he will, he's going to put his name in the MVP category. So we'll see what happens there. And on defense, we already got the Defense Player of the Year locked up with Fred Warner. He's just going to continue doing what he's doing. He's done this for years in and years out. He's a true leader, and he inspires the team to play well. So we're going to watch him. We're going to see what happens. But he's going to be Defensive Player of the Year. And don't look now, but you keep messing around, Brock Purdy going to be the MVP of this season. So that's all I wanted to touch on with you guys. Just a little quarterly report. I'd have to finish this with a grade that I give the Niners for the first 4 games. I'm giving them a C+. It's not too bad, not too great. Should have won more games. A game or two we should have had. We didn't. But we've had a lot of injuries, so I have to factor that in. We're missing an Offensive Player of the Year. Got to factor that in. But we still should be at least about 3-1. So because of that, I'm going to give us a C+. But going forward, I imagine the next quarter is going to be a B or an A. I'm not too worried about it. We're going to see what happens. I'm looking forward to the next 4 games. I'll see y'all soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bang, bang, Niner Gang. It's your boy AB for the Better LA. I'll get with y'all.